welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to restore a Miller Falls number 07. Now, this is another video from that 11-day road trip that I took. This is when I was visiting my buddy Lou. I'm going to have multiple videos coming out about that visit because he has one of the most impressive shops that I've ever seen and one of the most impressive modern plane collections that I've ever seen. In this video specifically, I wanted to release it first because it's kind of the most sentimental to me. Lou and I have known each other for a while, and he's helped me out more than anybody knows. And we got to spend the day just hanging out, geeking out over tools. And one of the things that we did is we restored this plane completely, Japanning and everything. And that's something I've never done before. I do have to give Lou a shout out because he was very patient with me when I was learning all of this. But let's go ahead and dive in. The first thing we needed to do was make the shellac, which is something I've never done before either, but now I am obsessed with it, and I have another video coming out where I test out 6 different colors, 3 different species. It's a whole thing. You'll see. So, for this mixture, what he used 2 ounces of flakes. He then ground them in a coffee grinder to turn them into a powder. And then when he put them back into the jar, he added isopropyl alcohol, and he used 8 ounces. He got this recipe from Stumpy Nubs. Then after that, we put it into this really cool chemistry mixer where it has a little magnet in there, and the base makes the magnet spin to mix it up so we could focus on other things. So then it was on to sandblasting, which I had an absolute blast with. I don't know how else to word it, but it was just a lot of fun. And Lou, again, had to teach me how to do it, so I'll let him take over. So it's the foot.
Did you hear it?
I did.
Yep.
So
and
it's
just
that?
stomp the pedal, yeah.
Oh,
aim it.
It's foot pedal.
Yeah, it's a foot pedal. Hold, you could just, yeah, aim it right down, be close, be like 2 inches away.
Like that?
Yep. Yeah, step on it. Don't have to be cautious. You're not going to hurt it. And you're not going to hurt you. Put your foot right in.
Oh, inside?
Yep.
Whoa!
Get closer. Take a break, let it clear.
Once I got my bearings with this machine, it was awesome. So what it did is it removed all of the rust, all of the grime, all of the dirt, and it actually removed all of the Japanning on the body as well. So it made it a completely clean surface to start working with. Now, while I was working on the sandblaster, Lou went over to his brass wire wheel to clean up all the small parts, and he wants to make a note of this.
So that's not a brass coated steel wheel. That's a real brass wheel. It makes a big difference. You don't damage your part.
And Lou did a fantastic job cleaning these up, getting rid of all of that rust and grime. We did add a little bit of polish after this to give it a little bit more of a sheen. So here's what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. So I am really impressed with that process, and I'm going to have to look into getting one of those brass wheels for myself. Now back to the sandblaster, because it did take me quite a while to get this sandblasted. What I learned is it's best if you are close to it and you go in consistent lines. If you're bouncing around, it creates an inconsistent finish on the end product. So I did. I took my time with it. I really learned. I tried out different things. I practiced with it, and it was awesome. I do have to say, once I pulled everything out of the sandblaster, I was a little bit nervous about how everything was gray. I didn't expect that. I should have. I know I've seen pictures of it before, but it was like really gray. But Lou told me not to worry because the next step was onto the polishing wheel with some polishing compound. Now in this step, you can take it all the way up to a mirror finish, but with this plane specifically, it had a lot of pitting. So I thought that if we took it to a mirror finish, that it would just make those pits stand out even more. So I only polished it up enough to remove that gray, but still have a little bit of the patina there. And I think everything turned out really well. This is what it looks like right after the polishing wheel. I don't think we added any additional polishing compound to this. I was a little nervous to use the polishing wheel. For some reason, I'm not a fan of taking metal to a spinning object, but if it's the opposite, I'm fine. Like the table saw and the bandsaw, I'm fine. But for some reason, like the lathe, for example, not a fan. I have one for the off chance I need to turn a handle or a knob, but I don't like taking metal to a spinning object. And this polishing wheel was kind of the same way. Lou just kind of laughed at me and thought I was being ridiculous, which is true. I was. But anyways, next step, we are going to talk about Japanning. So the Japanning recipe that we're using is 30 asphaltum.
30%.
30% asphaltum.
Also known as gilsonite.
Gilsonite.
Yeah. If you want to buy it from an art supply where it's really clean and well powdered, you get gilsonite.
Okay, okay.
But it's a naturally occurring product called asphalt. asphaltum,
Yeah.
which is what's used to make asphalt.
That's cool.
So it's mined.
Okay. Yeah. And then 50% turpentine.
And I use that.
And 20% linseed.
And this, I like this because it's all U.S. sourced from trees. It's not, because some turpentine is actually kind of fake. It's got a variety of chemicals in it that's 100% pure.
That's awesome.
From U.S. pine trees turpentine.
Is there anything special with linseed, or is it?
It's just clean linseed oil.
Okay.
It's, you know, kind of high end, really meant for furniture. It's had good ratings.
Yeah, that's cool.
Before painting, we added some heat-resistant tape. Now, heat resistance is the key because remember, it's going in the oven. And the reason we did that is just to prevent some cleanup at the end, which works for most people, but it doesn't work out for me, and you'll see why later.
How much do you dip?
It's a feel thing. I go light first, and then it's always better to go light.
And you can tap.
And yeah. And then say, did I get a good do I get good coverage?
It is like a paint. I thought it was going to be thinner.
This layer, just get coverage. You don't need perfection on the streaks, and get the best coverage you can, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to do, no matter what I've done, I've had to do another coat.
It's surprising how brown it is.
It turns blacker.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I never, you know.
But if you look at Japanning on a Stanley, there's a hint of brown to it.
Yeah.
And that's the mix.
Okay.
Is people decide how much brown they want versus how much black.
And here it is after the first coat. It was a little bit easier than I thought it was, and I think I did pretty good. Now it goes in the oven.
So we want to bake, and we want to not bake it that high. Let's go 225 for the first one. Usually you do 200, but I want this layer to go faster.
Okay.
The timer, we go 60.
While the first coat was baking, we shifted our focus over to the knob of the plane. But I do want to point out that Lou has this little paint jar that has turpentine in it, and he uses that to clean the Japanning out of his brushes so he doesn't have to throw his brushes away. And I just thought that that was a neat idea and wanted to share. So, switching over to the knob of the plane, we immediately put on a coat of shellac, the shellac that we made, and then we realized that we could use Odie's oil to try to match the red hue that Miller's Falls planes have on their tote and their knob. So, I didn't know this, but you can just take alcohol and use that to wipe off shellac. I mean, it was simple. So we put a coat on, and then we just used alcohol to remove that coat. And he said that even if the shellac is dry, you can just use some alcohol to wipe off that coat of shellac. So that's a really handy tip to keep in mind. So then we switched over to using the Odie's oil and some of the different pigments. We messed around with the red and the brown, and in my opinion, we were able to match the color perfectly. I don't have exact measurements on it. I know that of the little spoon he was using, it was like 1 full spoon of the red and like a 1/4 spoon of the brown. But I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. We didn't take exact measurements. But the good news is you can go buy Odie's oil and the pigments and try it out for yourself. And I do have to say thank you to Lou because he did give me a jar of Odie's oil and pigment so I could mess around with colors myself. I also looked into Odie's oil and they have a ton of different colors. So keep an eye out because I might get samples of all of them and show you guys what the different colors look like. And with the knob done, it is time to shift our focus back to the Japanning.
It's hot. So you see how thin it is? And a little bit of brown. The next coat takes that up.
It was a little tough to see how brown and thin that coat was in video, but we went ahead, applied a second coat, put that in the oven, and here's what it looks like after the second coat. Now, there were some spots that I missed that I needed to touch up, and we just used a pointed Q-tip to take care of those spots.
Yeah, just light. Look for anything brown, because like now you're going to say, oh, I don't see anything, and then tomorrow you're going to say, oh, I can't believe I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Just light, let it kind of fall right in. It'll flatten, so don't worry about it. With these little dots, I find that it's okay to be a little thick.
We decided to remove the tape before the final baking, but this was a big mistake for me because I made an absolute mess, but luckily Lou was there to clean it up for me, but he did have some comments which were rather funny.
How'd you get paint on the side?
I got paint everywhere. You're gonna see this thing and just laugh.
That was the whole point of taping it.
I got it, look.
But didn't you cover that?
I did. In the mouth. And the side.
Where did you get it everywhere? You're not allowed to take off the tape till it's baked.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of defeated the purpose of the tape.
Even with all of my mistakes and using this plane as a project plane to learn on, I am very happy with how it came out. This is a reminder of what the plane looked like before, and here's what it looks like now, and I think it is gorgeous. Japanning was fun, sandblasting was fun, mixing the Odie's oil pigments was fun. I enjoyed every single part of this project. But honestly, what I enjoyed the most was getting to hang out with my friend Lou because he's just an awesome person and he taught me a lot and he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to restoring planes, and his entire process was just awesome. It was efficient, it was effective, it didn't damage the parts. It was just a great experience. So again, thank you, Lou. I truly appreciate this. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something too, because I know that I learned a lot. Lou, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, because I got to try things that I've never tried before, and have guidance doing it versus just messing everything up and getting upset with myself. So, thank you for being patient with me and teaching me this entire process. It is a memory that I'm going to have for the rest of my life, and I am really happy that it's documented so I can look back on it whenever I want to. But alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Any questions, any comments, anything like that, feel free to let us know down below, and have a good day.